Welcome again. I'm Richard Minol from Maddington and Thornlie. There is a real joy for me in Psalm 47, which is part of today's readings. There are two themes of expressing joy: shouting and clapping. When I went to the football for the first time with my grandfather, I can still remember the shouting. I think that at just about every sports event, there is a lot of shouting going on. People are trying to encourage their team. The second theme in the psalm is clapping. Clapping is a sign of appreciation in our culture, but it can be done also in a way that shows disgust. This psalm uses the celebration and appreciation theme. Clapping is something that has meant a lot during this time of the COVID crisis. It's become a way that many communities around the world have expressed their thanks to those who are on the front line caring for people and helping to protect the towns and cities. People are wanting to show their appreciation to those who are helping them. And when they cannot leave their homes except in an emergency, clapping seems to have become a wonderful sign and a way of saying thank you. Clapping is often a sign of real joy. And so there's another passage of joy that has meant a lot for me, and it's from Isaiah 55. You'll go out in joy and be led forth in peace. The mountains and hills will burst into songs before you, and all the trees of the field will clap their hands. There are times when I've been traveling around this wonderful country of ours, and I've stopped at a place to appreciate the wonderful Creator seen through the wonderful creation that He's made. At times, I can hear the movement in the trees, and it seems as if they're clapping to show their appreciation of the great Creator. With my great love of photography, I've learned to look at the work of other artists. All my life, I've been touched by the wonderful work of Albert Namatjira. I really appreciate the way that Albert Namatjira places trees in his main paintings in a way that's helped emphasize the rocky outcrops or other items that he's included as his main subject. It seems as if the trees were presenting the subject. I've tried to copy this in my photography, but I unfortunately fail more than I succeed. This brings me back to our theme from Psalm 47. The psalm is a psalm of joy in God, in who He is and in what He has done. The introduction from the Living Bible says, "Come everyone and clap your hands for joy. Shout to God with a joyful praise. For the Most High is awesome. He is the great King of all the earth." The theme of the psalm is one of continually giving praise to God for who He is and what He's done. The visual that comes with this psalm is a procession going up to Jerusalem with all the joy and celebration of a king going to take his throne in Jerusalem. But this is more than just a king. It is God ascending to take up His throne because He is the King over all the earth. During these times of struggle with the various things that are taking place in our world, we need to be audible in our appreciation of God and celebrate who He is and what He has done for us. In many ways, the psalm points us to Jesus, whose journey to Jerusalem on what we call Palm Sunday was celebrated by His followers, despite the criticisms of the religious leaders. They told Jesus to tell His followers to be silent. Jesus replied, if they were silent, the rocks upon the road would sing. This was the final event of triumph before the religious leaders fulfilled their plot to put Jesus to death. But little did they know that in 3 days He would rise from death to the fullness of life. Then, 40 days later, Jesus ascended to heaven. The celebration of that was yesterday. Leaving his disciples filled with joy and awe because he was their ascended King. The disciple John, in his book that we call the Revelation, reminds us that Jesus will return and take up his position as King forever, but not on an earthly throne. The promise is for a new heaven and new earth, where sin will no longer be found. What a wonderful event to be part of. Jesus reigns in the hearts of his followers now, though. That's probably one of the most important things. But we still wait for his return to bring all things to their completion. God has been speaking to his people throughout the history of the world, and we have that history to encourage us. So let us join in the singing of praises to God with shouts of joy and the clapping of hands. And so I'm going to sing one of my favourite songs. I'm normally used to standing when I sing, so sitting is an unusual thing for me. By faith we see the hand of God in the light of creation's grand design, in the lives of those who prove his faithfulness, who walk by faith and not by sight. By faith our fathers rolled the earth, with the power of his promise in their hearts, of a holy city built by God's own hands, a place where peace and justice reign. We will stand as children of the promise. We will fix our eyes on him, our soul reward, till the race is finished and our work is done. We'll walk by faith and not by sight. By faith the prophets saw a day when the longed-for Messiah would appear, with the power to break the chains of sin and death, and rise triumphant from the grave. By faith the church was called to go in the power of the Spirit to the lost, to deliver captives and to preach good news in every corner of the earth. We will stand as children of the promise. We will fix our eyes on him, our soul reward, till the race is finished and the work is done. We'll walk by faith and not by sight. By faith this mountain shall be moved, and the power of the gospel shall prevail. For we know in Christ all things are possible, all who call upon his name. We will stand as children of the promise. till the race is finished and the work is done. We'll walk by faith and not by sight. We will stand as children of the promise. We will fix our eyes on Him, our soul reward, till the race is finished and the work is